We'll be moving on to the second segment of the meetup, where we'll be discussing about cryptocurrency exchanges and cybersecurity. To provide some context, about a year ago, we at CoinGecko, we introduced this thing called a Trusco, which we use to rank exchanges based on a holistic metric, such as liquidity, scale, API coverage. And this ranking is a better reflection of the quality of the exchange rather than just looking at the trading volume itself, which is a lot susceptible to fake inflated trades. With all the hacking incidents that we have seen in centralized exchanges lately, and also like internet services as well, as you know, and last week what happened with Twitter and whatnot, it is really important in this industry for exchanges to be evaluated based on the cybersecurity. And last week we had the opportunity to launch Trusco, working with Hacken as our data partner to incorporate cybersecurity metrics into the Trusco to make it much more holistic when evaluating exchanges. And the goal is to create much more awareness on the urgency of having good security practice to give confidence to traders. And of course, we have here today Dyma Budorin, the CEO of Hacken, who is our data partner of cybersecurity. Welcome, Dyma.
Thank you, Tian.
All right.
So great. Yeah, it's my personal opinion is that you are building the road to maturity for the crypto industry, and we are very proud and honored to help you in doing this big initiative.
Yeah. So I guess the first question is maybe a little bit about yourself and your company. What got you into starting a cybersecurity company, and even more so for the cryptocurrency industry?
Sure. So I started my career around 14 years ago in Deloitte, and my genes are like from audit, so I like to check everything. And when you are an auditor, we're searching for some mistakes, intentional, not intentional, and every time we find a mistake, we call it auditor orgasm. So we're very, very happy. It's a joke. And when we saw the industry, the crypto industry, that it has so many hacks, we understand that there should be a lot of opportunities to have this auditor orgasm. So to find a lot of mistakes, a lot of bugs, and to help companies to succeed. But yeah, in general, it's my background and our team background is coming from Big Four, and we saw crypto space as a big lifetime opportunity to bring our knowledge that we gained by working in these companies, and to apply this knowledge in the emerging market that we really all believe in. And there is a lot of work to do. It's tens of years that we need to keep building so that it is safe industry and transparent and very fair to all the participants.
Yeah, I think you are right. Like, this industry is really young. Bitcoin has only been around for 10 years. And then the exchanges, I think they've been around for about 7 years or so, the one that we know of. And there's a lot of things that we don't know about, like there's new hacking techniques, and we're always trying to keep up. Do you see any differences between the crypto exchanges side of security versus what you practice in the Big Four? Like, I imagine you audit like enterprises.
Absolutely. Cybersecurity is an industry that's very small number of people really understand. And especially, when you're a successful CEO, you are thinking about sales, about finance, about marketing, and cybersecurity is usually somewhere there. And, it's okay. And in fact, how cybersecurity industry is developing in traditional markets is that government or some associations or some other public requirements, they push companies to do certain steps according to checklists, according to some methodologies, to improve the level of cybersecurity in their company and decrease the risks of their users and actually the company to be hacked. So that means that in crypto, there is we don't see it at all. Crypto exchanges are not reporting to no one. Crypto exchanges don't have any standards of anything. Like maybe only API standards, how they give the data. That's it probably. So this whole thing is just in very very early stage, and like our partnership is very important in making these first steps to kind of improve quality of exchanges from the outside. So yeah, it's if you don't push the exchanges in any directions, if the users will not come to exchange and say, "Hey guys, can you tell us when was your last penetration test report and who is your cybersecurity auditor?" They will not probably do anything. So this
Yeah,
is.
or only until when an incident happens, and by then it's too
And
late.
even when incidents happens, like I know a lot of exchanges that they think that incident happened and CEO is what CEO is doing. So probably our CTO is a bad guy. Let's fire this CTO, hire another one. There is a very small understanding from the shareholders on how to properly structure the security environment in the exchange. So a lot of things need to be improved.
Yeah, and I'm sure we can talk more about that later. But before that, maybe we can jump straight into the topic. So, looking at the current state of the exchanges in the industry, do you think that the centralized exchanges are they doing enough when it comes to cybersecurity? And I'm sure you have seen many of all these different exchanges and do some audit with them. What do you think is the situation like right now?
I think they are not doing enough, definitely not. And of course, the top ones they have pretty good policies and pretty good. They build a lot of walls from hackers, but there are always some hidden windows where you can go. But in any case, building a lot of walls is a good thing. But from what we saw like we announced the CoinGecko partnership, and we started to gather data about latest penetration tests from exchanges. We were quite disappointed, to be honest. Not so many exchanges, like really small number, are hiring external cybersecurity engineers to do the test. So this is really like we were surprised in a bad way.
Right. So I guess like back to the earlier discussion, right? Like most of the exchanges probably put cybersecurity in the second thought, and they are focused mainly on growth and also to give convenience to user. And the more security that you add, the more layers that you add, the more difficult the exchange becomes to use. Like every transaction that you do, you need some sort of a password, any withdrawal, and then maybe some users are not very happy with that. So I guess like what is the fine balance in terms of prioritization and also balancing between a good user experience, convenience versus investing in cybersecurity. Of course, when it happens, in hindsight, you wish that you have it done, all these checks and whatnot. But in moving forward, like exchanges need to figure out how they can balance them. So, do you have any thoughts on that?
Definitely, the cybersecurity and convenience is always, you need to find a balance. But most of the exchanges they completely remove the point of user security. So not to have bouncing people bouncing from them. And we see like with different CTOs, we see these arguments when we say, guys, you should implement this second factor here, or you should put the withdrawal limits here, because there are this risk and this risks. And we hear quite often that we don't care, we don't want to lose clients, and convenience is much more important. But it will be it will change if some practices will become the industry standard. There will be some benchmarks of properly built exchange, and then these benchmarks will convert into ISO standard alike. And then this ISO standard alike will, be a main measure of crypto exchange security. The whole this process of appearing the standards, the ISO standards, is very interesting and inspiring me and our team. We have a good example of DNVGL. It's a company, Norwegian German company, who is also who was creating the ISO standards. They are also VeChain shareholders, and it's very interesting to read their history, and it's actually help us a lot to kind of project what will happen with crypto exchanges security standards in the future.
Right. So moving on to the next part, right? So I'm not exactly sure like if you work closely with the regulators or exchanges that are regulated. So I think recently we are seeing a lot of licenses being issued by governments or regulators to exchanges. And I'm curious to know like what sort of security standard did they impose on the exchange? I bet there's going to be some sort of a benchmark. And also my worry is they try to apply traditional exchange standard onto cryptocurrency exchange, which is not entirely applicable because you got key management, you got all kinds of things that are very different than traditional exchange. Do you have anything to share on your experience working with exchanges with regulatory license?
Yeah, so exchanges in Japan and Korea, most of the regulators are looking at the financials, so that's the deposits of clients should always be less than the funds that are on the balance of exchange. So that's there is no risks of bankruptcy, and this is the first trend, and we know that like 80% of exchanges are not fulfilling this measure, and if at some point of time the regulator or I don't know some crypto regulator will appear and will push all the exchanges to show their assets and liabilities, we're gonna have a very not Black Friday, not Black Thursday, I don't know, Black Week. It can be very harsh, but yeah, this is the first thing. Second thing is, of course, private keys management. So far, it's only one exchange, Gemini, that did some kind of traditional industry standard review of internal controls on their private keys management SOC 2. It was performed by Deloitte. So that was a good step from Gemini exchange. But definitely this should be, very public information to everyone. Like at first we need to know who is behind every single exchange. If something happens, who is putting his name behind it. Second, we need to know who are the management of this exchange, who are the CEOs and whatever, like CTO, CEO. And third, we need to know what are the procedures of the cold wallets private keys management. We need to know who is from these executives has the access, so that if something happened, the users of this exchange need to understand whose fault it was. And actually, it is possible to build this infrastructure in the way that it's almost risk-free. But again, it's exchanges are focusing on growth, not these important things.
Yeah. Until they need to get licenses, then they are pressured to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
But this will be the trend. I'm absolutely guaranteeing you, this will be a trend for internal controls, licensing, the financial audits of exchange, and the cybersecurity. They will start shutting down the fiat gateways in the like European, North American countries without these licenses. So it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, for crypto to go mainstream and for general public to be protected, I think that is definitely something that
Yeah.
needs to be done.
And this is our task. If we want crypto industry to develop faster, this is our task to start already raising awareness about it, like speaking to exchange that guys, you need to do this. Otherwise, no. And there are exchanges that are listening. There are exchanges that are starting to invest into this building the proper internal controls that can be audited and will be audited. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, exchanges are kind of like a bank. They are holding users' funds, and they have to be very careful with that. So I'm wanted to ask you, like I'm sure you have seen a lot of incidents, and you have done a lot of case study. Has there been any exchange hacking incident that went beyond your wildest imagination? Like, you may see some cases where, yeah, I kind of expected that, but is there any one example that you would like to share with the audiences here that is something that you never thought of or seen before, and like, yeah, that's a very good case study for everyone to study in terms of securing their exchange?
Of course, there were different bugs. We saw a lot of cool stuff. Let's say the funniest one was the bug of one of in our clients that we were managed that they have some mining for some tokens, and we were able to speed up. We were able to get into admin and speed up the mining of a token, and we were able to mine as much as we can, and then withdraw, and this whole thing didn't wasn't captured by their security team. So that was a funny bug, like
Right.
who can thought like to just to for in traditional banking industry, that you can mine some money in for and then withdraw it. So I
Yeah.
think this can be a cool bug to share.
Right. Yeah, especially
But
in
but
crypto.
yeah, but generally, like hackers are very lazy people. Like really, like they don't have a job. They're lazy. So they are not targeting exchanges where they see that they were working with this cool cybersecurity firm with this. They are not wasting their time. Uh, but what they do, they are searching the dark web for um, lost credentials, lost email and password, and then try to match this lost email and password at second tier, third tier exchanges who has weak security practices. And then once they log in, then they can start doing some bad things. So right now, the main targets of lazy black hat hacking community are individuals. So they don't do any magic. They just look for stolen credentials. But the good thing is that everyone can go right now and check his credentials in different websites if they are accessible to hackers. You can do it at hacken.ai. You can do it at haveibeenpwned.com. It's important to do it regularly.
Right. So moving on to something that's quite related. So DeFi is one of the hottest thing currently
Yeah.
right now, and in DeFi, one of the main component is decentralized exchanges.
Mhm.
And the interesting thing about decentralized exchanges or DEX is that you're starting to see decentralized exchange that live entirely on smart contract. And these are not order book based DEXs where you control your private key, but basically liquidity pool in smart contract, and then you do swappings with other people and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if you look into this space of things where what kind of security audit will be applied to such projects or such exchange services, because they're not the same as what we discussed earlier, where you got to know who's running it behind it. Imagine this service gets decentralized. It seems like it's going to be a new paradigm that we haven't seen before.
Yeah. There is one additional arise. One additional risk arise is how the token is how the smart contract is integrated to the DEX. So like we had this issue, I think 1 month ago, with the Balancer exchange, decentralized exchange, where one of the tokens were not standard ERC20, but they were integrated as standard ERC20, and there was a big bug, and the attacker was able to double spend a lot of funds. So and that was, this smart contract had a smart contract audit report. The Balancer exchange had like 3 security audits, and before you never had this issue, but there was no audit how these two were integrated. So it's another points of cybersecurity risks, and another point where exchanges, decentralized exchanges, have to request third-party opinion on whether this or that smart contract was correctly integrated.
Right. Yeah, and I think down the road there's going to be more and more of such instances, and we really need to spend some time, because it could be new attack vectors that we never think of. I think smart contract is not just the contract audit itself. There could be external factors like flash loan, which again caught everyone by surprise.
I have a opinion on DeFi that I want to share,
Sure.
which also comes from our background. So we think that right now it's great that DeFi has accumulated a lot of funds, but the fact is that there is not so many parties who they can give these funds, because users don't have pledge. And because sending BTC to get USDT for a loan and pay interest does not make a lot of sense. But there is a massive assets in the world, digital assets that can be used as a pledge, but they still are not evaluated, and they are still not converted into assets. And this is our social media accounts, popular Instagram accounts, popular Twitter accounts, popular Telegram chats, Telegram channels, everything you can imagine. So people will, in very near future, people will start to give loan in exchange for the keys of these social media accounts. And there will be a lot of work again for the auditors to verify that these Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts, they don't have fake bots, they are real, and there is no fake information about it. So I think that this interesting segment of digital assets can again boost DeFi industry, and it will basically create new money. And I think it's and another point is that when you have a good Instagram account, you know how much work you have put into it, and you understand that you don't want to lose it, and and you will pay the debt. So it's basically pretty good pledge. So this is my thoughts.
Yeah, that might be a good incentive. I mean, right now, we have seen some like social media equivalent type of blockchain, which I think at some point it gained quite a bit of traction, but the moment that the bear market comes and then people start getting disincentivized for that. So I wanted to also segue a bit. I mean, kind of related to the incident last week with Twitter, right? So you brought up about Twitter, and there was a surprising incident where verified accounts were posting
Shocking.
like Bitcoin donation and things like that. And obviously, to some people, it's an obvious scam, but you do see some Bitcoin being transferred to the address. And some people are also asking, like, if the hacker is able to penetrate to that level, why didn't they do something else that is even worse than that, right? I mean, it's damaging, but it's not as damaging as what some people think it might. But I don't know if there's anything else that we don't know about this whole incident. But I think you did a case study recently. I saw your post on Twitter. What's your take on this? Like, is this something that we should be worried about, and how can we stay safe moving forward for all services online?
Yeah, so yes, answering the first part, like why that was, he got access to basically change to send anything from any account, and he was doing this lame send one, receive two attack. Yeah, that was really, like in Black Hat hacking community, people were disappointed, like, oh my God, how you could waste that big chance. But this can be an indication of two things. It might be some, government experiments, like, I don't know. We know in which countries there are some good hackers, or it can be just, really accidental person who just found the credentials, and or like get these credentials in some other intentional or unintentional way. But in any case, it is a very serious issue for Twitter security team, because the super admin rights that can do such things, it's a very like it's a very big asset that has to be properly protected. So that this super admin rights has to be absolutely from clean notebooks for laptops, or not. They should go and execute their functions only through VPN or virtual machine. They should not have any available doors when they use the internet. There should be any application install of this computer. Nothing, no emails, no other social network. Only super admin rights, clean as a crystal laptop, and do what you need to do, and do it only from a cabinet in in a secret room somewhere in America. By doing this, yeah, probably super admin rights can be useful, and they can do some things. But from what we see, like, obviously it wasn't like this, like, because otherwise it just couldn't happen, and the official explanation from Twitter is that they explained that yes, these persons were hacked, and we are doing an investigation. But the internal controls has to be in place so that this cannot happen, and there should be a public third-party auditor who reviews the super admin rights specifically and make sure that they don't have internet connection and so on. So I was trying to find on Nasdaq the exchange where Twitter is traded. I was trying to find the recent third-party auditor on internal controls, and to be honest, I didn't find anything. Like, they either deleted or I don't know what happened, but this information has to be public, and I just couldn't. So the auditor for internal controls didn't do his job right. The architecture of cybersecurity department is not made a mistake, and hacker, if he did this lame attack, probably it really was some roller coaster chance that he found it.
Yeah, like as you mentioned, this is just one of the few example that could be potentially quite damaging. I mean, Twitter account, you got like President Donald Trump using Twitter as a primary mode of communication, and if it gets infiltrated, bad things can happen. And also, as we look in crypto, right, if it goes mainstream, we're going to be much more digitalized. Everything will be sort of interconnected. Twitter profile, decentralized internet, somehow there will be some sort of a connection. And with all these hacking concerns, security concerns, which could be quite disruptive to everyday life and be damaging, how do you think about the future of the internet? Like, is it going to be a safe place? Are you optimistic about it? I know it's going to be a very difficult question. Like, I start to think about the future of how would my kids, be able to survive in a very connected world, and you got to be very, very mindful with what comes onto the internet and what happens. But I'm curious, in your security hat, what do you think about the future of security in the internet space?
We can see it from the history, like how it was evolving the security space, and we see that it has improved a lot. But hackers is hacker is a set of mind. It's these are people who are always trying to bypass something. And of course we will the bigger walls we will build. The hackers will always find some ways how to go behind the ground, so jump from over the wall. So there will be some security holes, but what I think is more important is education. And I think that cybersecurity has to be, a must course in schools, or if not in schools, then like to have some, online training, well-known training that you can pass, and then put a badge on your, I don't know, Instagram account or Twitter account. I have passed this course, and I'm, hackers try to hack me if
Like
you
a
can.
driver's license.
Yeah, no, like but it is much easier right now to be hacked by as an individual. And it is really painful. Like I was hacked once, and I have once broken my finger on the toe, and I prefer to, I don't know, not to break not only finger but maybe arm, but I don't want to be hacked anymore again. So, and this is really important to raise awareness so less people go through this terrible experience. So I think we are working in Hacken in this direction. We have our educational courses, interactive ones, and we are promoting it as much as we can. But we need to think a little bit wider, and maybe with CoinGecko we can do some pilots to promote cyber education.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be something that we can figure out as we go by on trying to increase the awareness. Maybe a last question before we move on to the Q&A from the audience. So just something like, Bobby presented a report earlier regarding the web traffic of the exchanges. So we saw like there is a pretty strange results in the referrals and all these exchanges. Typically, I don't know, like for example, we saw a lot of referrals from some faucet looking sites. So I don't know if those are, spammy sites that tries to milk referral. I mean, it's not really an attack in terms of hacking, but people are taking opportunity like a social engineering to send users to an exchange, and then they pick up the referral. There's a lot of tricks like that, right? People buying ads on Google, putting some referral codes in there. I wonder if those are what this web traffic is
Sure.
reporting. But I think you have some insights on that you wanted to share earlier. But maybe you can mention a little bit on that.
It's so many times already. Like I was speaking with Bobby that you are exploring some things, we're exploring some things at the same time, and so yeah, when he sent this article from Decrypt where he commented about web traffic, it was amazing because at the same day we were exploring the same problem. This ad BTC, I think the website name. So the story is very easy. They put some advertisements in Russian internet, like, hey, go register and set up auto surfing and receive 1 Satoshi for every click. And you go, the registration is very smooth. You register, you click auto surfing, and you just put it overnight, and your computer is like kind of mining, going to websites, and giving the big, traffic to exchanges that are using this tool. So again, this is example of hacking. So exchanges want to have a big number in similar web, so to be on top, and they are thinking how to bypass and have this number. They go to these websites, they pay them money, and they are giving them this traffic, and then they go and sell to new potential tokens that, hey, look, we have 5 million visitors per month, we have thousands of hundreds of traders, go and you have to list your token at us, pay us 5 BTC. When I hear these stories, I'm so disappointed, and I always want to work more to tell people the real story about this type of exchanges who are doing this stuff.
Right. Yeah, I think it goes back to the question on exchanges wanting to focus on growth. And I mean, again, like it's very hard to say like whether this is sustainable or not. But
it's not about growth. It's just about frauding the similar web number. They are these users who are going to this at BTC. They are not visiting the websites. They just click one button, auto surf, and his desktop is starting to surf every periodically every new page, because there are some things to some how to say benchmarks to follow. Because you have to go to this exchange, make 6 clicks, and stay 6 minutes, because otherwise you will destroy the statistics on similar web. So there are around 80,000 registered users, real users from CIS countries, Russia, Ukraine, wherever, who have this auto surfing button on, and they are doing this 5, 6, whatever you want, what number you want in similar web, they're gonna do this number for you. No worries.
Yeah, so it comes down to like we were using web traffic as a proxy to determine the accurateness of the trade volume that they report, right? High trade volume, high traffic, I think you can sort of make the argument, but when your traffic is much lower but your volume is high, then we sort of use that as a proxy itself. And now we're getting all these spammy results, and we have to figure out how we can exclude like all this fake clicks, fake visits that are not real users just driving on a number. And it becomes a cat and mouse game for us. Like we always have to think of new ways to evaluate exchanges to be ahead of the curve, and I think similar headache that the security folks are facing as well in that sense.
Definitely, it's a challenge one. I think it's even harder to evaluate rather than the trade volume. Rather, it's harder to get the fair data. So as it now, what I see is that the the how to say traffic factor should be a combination of not only the similar web data, but maybe also some data from social medias, how active are social medias, maybe for mentions in search engines. It also very important because this you can track. So I think this issue is not going to be issue only of crypto vault. I think I'm pretty sure that the the fair numbers of social media and traffic data it's a global problem, not only so. Yeah, like for example, when in the e-commerce, yes, thousands of Instagram shops, where like where to go and start selling your stuff to the shop with biggest number of followers, but how to verify that these followers are real or not? Where are they from? What is the demographic? You cannot get the reliable data. So this is a global problem, and for what we can do right now, I think is that also to monitor the statistics from Twitter, Telegram, Discord, and to add this to similar web data, which you actually do.
Yeah, and it's also the job of the platform itself to sort of like try to clear the spam. I think Facebook had some issue where advertising clicks were spammy as well. Companies buy ads on Facebook and then they pay for ads that were clicked by bots, and they need to step up and also try to clean some of these spammy sources on their end rather than relying on external party as well, because we don't have insights on the data that's coming into their site on the platform. Okay, so I'm going to move on to some of the questions from the audiences. So there's one here by Alex, and the question is for you, Dyma. What are your thoughts on the incidences where Coinbase shares the analytic data, or I think customer information or something along that line, with the US government? And I think they're doing that in order to comply with regulation. But I don't know how that fits into security, but maybe you have an opinion on that as it relates to exchanges data and things along that line.
I think everybody should make his own decision where to trade. So let's say not all of the crypto users are so desperate about privacy, desperate about we're gonna I don't know, fight with the banks and whatever. There are a lot of crypto enthusiasts who wants to invest in this alternative asset, and they want some protection from the government. They want some protection that if something happened with Coinbase, his funds gonna be returned, and this is their choice. I think. It was not good that they we don't know if they're gonna give some historical information or not. Probably yes. I think this point is not very good, but in general everybody has to make their own choice. And as for me, for example, I also keep some funds in in trusted exchanges that I'm pretty sure will not be if something happened, they will recover the funds. So
Yeah, especially important for mainstream users who are not aware of ways to secure their keys. So it comes down to if you have a new person coming to the space, do you tell them to secure it in a software wallet, hardware wallet, which requires safeguarding the private keys, the mnemonic phrases, or put it in an exchange that's protected by the government, right? So there could be different options for all kinds of people out there.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that this Coinbase work that they do is having a big impact on our industry, and some of the exchanges have to go into this path. like it if we like it or not, but this is definitely bringing the adoption. I think that Coinbase has impacted a lot on the price that we are having right now. Without that Coinbase, power in 2017, we would not had such growth. I'm absolutely sure about it.
Got it. So the next question is from Steve. So I think it's related to KYC and AML. So the question is, do you think KYC and AML needs to be enforced to strengthen security against bad actors? I think on my side, we have seen some people buying identity from somewhere and then using that to KYC and exchange. So is KYC and AML a requirement, and is it a good requirement to safeguard against certain security checks to trace the bad actors? What do you think about that?
I think it does not. I think it's not the main priority to. I think this KYC and AML is not about fighting with bad actors, and it definitely does not help a lot when some hacking accident happened and he stole, for example, 10 BTC, and he started to send 0.1 BTC to various different accounts at various different exchanges and quickly change and withdraw. And no one is able to do anything. So this KYC-ML doesn't help in this case. There will always be exchanges who will not ask for KYC-ML, like Yobit, where you can do whatever you want. So I think the intention of this push is to identify the crypto holders, and this is not about fighting, like with terrorists.
Yeah, mainly to adhere with the financial regulation and tax purposes and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one here is, does Hacken do the security for the companies without any policy? Yeah. So do you audit the existing policy of the exchange and then
Yeah.
improve it, or do you introduce new policy onto them, or both? And what level of them in terms of Hacken's?
No, we can't there is in consultancy world, if you do audit, you cannot be consultant. So we are working, like for example with Gate.io, we have reviewed their cybersecurity policies, and we have made our suggestions where it can be improved. So we are not selling our best practices, but we do have a lot of documents that are public about how to set up exchange according to the best practices. We even written the exchange cybersecurity methodology, and it's all is available at our website.
Got it. Maybe the last question here would be, maybe it might be an interesting one, is what are the differences you have seen between a cybersecurity practice of a cryptocurrency exchange versus a traditional like Forex or stock exchange or contract for difference exchange out there? Like, is there any differences? I mean, for one is the way the funds are being deposited, but in terms of the technology itself, do you think it's the same audit check marks for these two type of platforms that is related to finance?
Like to audit a cryptocurrency exchange, like cybersecurity of audit of cryptocurrency exchange is the most difficult thing you can imagine, because the number of risks, the number of vulnerabilities that are related to crypto only is huge. And when we are speaking about comparing it to Forex, so everything that applies to Forex, it automatically applies to crypto exchange. But on top is like another huge list of things that can go wrong with the crypto exchange. So like it's the most, and DeFi platforms probably like it's like the most
way beyond that. Yeah.
So.
Okay, makes sense. So okay, I think we'll have the last word from your side. So maybe what advice do you give to our audiences or general users to stay safe? Like let's say we're using exchanges, or we're using like DeFi services or any internet service. Maybe one or two tips that we can easily practice that gives us the biggest benefit in terms of protecting ourselves. Do you have any advice to share with everyone?
Yes, I was a lot of times I was advising, some difficult things, but it's better to advise something that is simple and has biggest value. So the easiest one is start using the password managers and to check your accounts for data breaches, to sign up for some alerts. This is the number one when technique when the user is looking into newly stolen database, when the hacker is looking to newly stolen database, finding your email, your password. It will not be your fault, and he will just start inserting this email and password into your different accounts. And if you are using different passwords at every account, you'll be protected from this type of attack. And believe me, 70% of the people, they use one password 2 and more times. So if you just do this small thing, you can be feel much safer than a lot of other people. And we provide these tools for free. It's our product, Hacken.ai. Feel free to check your email for breaches right now.
Makes sense. One more thing I would like to ask is also like if we activate 2FA on all of these services, and assuming that say the password is the same, I mean different, then definitely a much better security practice. But let's say if there is 2FA, does it create the same degree of effectiveness in terms
Absolutely.
of?
Absolutely. Yeah. So 2FA is it's another shield, and it like drastically improves your security. Well, usually when the hacker is able to get in to some account, and if he sees 2FA, bingo, if there is no 2FA, bingo, he's already in the account. If he sees 2FA, obviously he doesn't know it, then he tries to reset it. And it already depends on what are user settings, how he set the 2FA. If the 2FA can be reset through your email, this is not good. This also probably, like, if the hacker gets your email password, then he can easily reset the 2FA from all other, type of from exchange, whatever. So it's better to link the 2FA to like Google Auth or alike applications in your phone.
Yeah.
But don't make like 2FA that can be reset with an email. It's not a good idea.
Or even maybe phone number, because I think there's like SIM swapping case.
In some countries it's safe. In some countries, it's dangerous. So
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all we have for today. I think we touched on a lot of topic, right? Exchanges, internet services, personal security. I think it's a really, really good discussion. And I'm really sure that the audiences today learn a lot from the session earlier on the crypto market, and also this session in terms of security. And I think with that, I think we'll conclude the CoinGecko 4th meetup, and very thank you to Dyma for spending the time here. I know he's taking his busy time with us in this meetup and sharing a lot of advices and insights on his side. So if you would like to learn more about cybersecurity or audit practices, I'm sure you can find more information at Hacken website, and also join their community group where they can be reached out quite easily. So that's all for it. Thank you very much, and hope to see you again in the next meetup. We will have it like next month also. Thank you everyone. Thank you Dyma for spending.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.